All right, now I've got Dan Marrero, who's the co-founder of Creative On Demand, and you guys are the company that made an amazing app that is a game changer for parenting in the year 2018, and it's called STAPP, and it's with STAPP with two P's, STAPP. Dan, can you tell us what STAPP is?
STAPP is basically an app that allows you to turn off your kids' social media apps on demand.
But I just want to make sure people understand how this is different from other services that might be out there. For example, a router-based filter that has time restrictions, like say My Circle by Disney, or also like maybe your data provider. So your cell phone provider, like Verizon, will have family base. STAPP is different. And can you explain how it's different? And when you explained it to me, I was like, oh, I'm so in. I am all over this. I love it.
I can speak from experience as a parent. I went through let's call it the vetting process of going through the different ways of controlling their screen time. There's a lot of good Wi-Fi controllers. What I found was that they were a bit complicated in terms of usage, in terms of setting timelines. Sometimes they would work, sometimes they wouldn't. And then what I found is when I would finally get rid of Wi-Fi, of course, kids are so smart, they're like, wait a minute, I have data, right? So then I went to the next step, which is what you were mentioning. We happened to had one of those providers. We had family base for Verizon at that point. Mm-hmm. And I found the same thing. For me to go to those apps, it's very difficult to navigate. It took me forever to just try to figure it out. How is it that I'm supposed to control it? Am I controlling this device versus my own device versus my wife's device? So everything became so convoluted that it's not that perhaps it didn't work. It just didn't work for me. And I said, there has to be a simpler way.
I just want to make sure that the person listening to this understands that one of the key differences that I see with STAPP is that you can control apps that don't necessarily rely on an internet connection to operate. So let's say it's a game that your child is playing. Mm-hmm. You can instantly just open up the STAPP app and you could say, okay, no more Angry Birds for you.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Angry Birds will not open for them? How does that work?
It was developed in such a way that anything that is a third-party application download from the App Store, mm-hmm. You'll be able to discontinue it whenever you want to STAPP it. So it could be a game, or it could be social media, which is, the two things that take most of our teenagers' time.
This is absolutely a game changer. And I can tell you that as a parent, I'm incredibly frustrated that Apple has not provided this technology yet. Because our kids are absolutely addicted to their devices. And it's one thing to say, well, yes, but the responsibility is on the parent. Yeah, the responsibility is on the parent, but you have to understand that the nature of children, you can have the best relationship in the world, but if a child has access to that instant dopamine hit of that device, you have to be very, very active as a parent. And I will say as well that you also, in today's technology, you have to be incredibly savvy to be able to provide that protection for your kids. I think you need two things. You need great communication with your kids. You need to be a very active parent, but you also have to set the barriers. They are still kids, and they're going to test the limits, right? They're going to test, 100%. Oh, I wonder what happens when I click this or do this. I think over the next year or two, you guys are going to be in for an extremely great and well-deserved ride because parents are demanding this functionality. Internet-based filtering is great. I'm glad we have that. Yeah. Some of it's a little complicated, but this is absolutely genius.
Thank you. There are so many people that are in the same situation we are. because if you think about it, this is the very first generation that has to deal with technology at this level. Nobody has ever gone through this as a parent. So there's no guide as to how do I do this.
Right.
When we were growing up, as much as maybe, we might have gotten annoyed when we were teenagers, there was that, your mom or your dad that would go in and say, you need to turn off that TV. And if not, I'll turn it off for you. And it's like, okay, I got to go to bed.
Yeah. You can get it right now in the in the App Store, right? In the iOS App Store. Not yet available for Android. That's on the roadmap. That's in the future. Right. But for iOS users, you can get it right now.
Well, it's very simple. The steps are very simple.
Nice.
You download the app. Once you download the app, you're going to need your kid's phone for a minute or two. That's really what it takes. You get their phone, and basically that your phone is going to send a link to your kid's phone. You click on that link, and it'll take maybe 30 seconds. And at that moment, you've paired both your phones. You can give them their device. And from that moment on, from your device, you can basically be able to control their screen time and their apps. If you go to the App Store and you search STAPP, S-T-A-P-P, parental control, you're going to see our app. And right now we're offering a 14-day free trial option for new customers on the lowest tier that allows them to manage one device. So you can check it out for 2 weeks for free, and you can try it out.
Dan, I want to thank you so much as parent to parent. Thank you so much for creating this. I think this is kind of like the last missing link for me in terms of being able to help and guide my kids and help set safe boundaries so that we can avoid a lot of heartache, and we can avoid, just the internet addiction and phone addiction. So thank you so much for creating this.
Well, thank you so much.